tons, 49.5 long tons, 55.4 short tons, was reached, still higher than required. This meant that the MBT-70 would require its own armored recovery vehicles and bridge launching systems. Germany became concerned with the excessive weight of the tank. One solution proposed removing radiation hardening from the turret, but this called into question the wisdom of the driver in turret configuration, which was intended to protect the crew in the event of a nuclear blast. Commentators on the MBT-70 typically assert that though it was innovative in many respects, the project was ruined by the use of too many untried and unproven technologies. Senator James W. Fulbright quipped that to drive an MBT-70, a master's degree from a technical institute would be required. Cancellation, edit. By 1969 the MBT-70 cost 5 times what was projected, at $1 million a unit. Originally the planned costs of the MBT-70 project were as low as $80 million, or $292.8 million DM, but in 1969 the project had already cost $303 million, nearly $1.1 billion DM. West Germany's part alone of this was about $130 million, $475.8 million DM, which in itself was more than the original planned total costs of the project. Frustrated with the lack of resolution to the tank's technical problems and excessive weight, Germany announced in April 1969 that it would cut back on its purchase of the MBT-70 and begin development of a new tank. A July 1969 House Armed Services Subcommittee report on the troubled M551 Sheridan asked that funding for the MBT-70 be withheld pending a comprehensive review of the program. In August 1969, Senator Thomas Eagleton was granted a request that the Government Accounting Office undertake an audit of the program. The GAO recommended the tank development program proceed on an austere basis. Acting on this recommendation, Deputy Secretary of Defense David Packard agreed to withhold $25 million earmarked for the production of 6 prototypes while the DoD completed a review of the project. Packard was ultimately persuaded by Army leaders that the American MBT-70 project was technically sound. The Army agreed that development would be better off without German cooperation. In January 1970, the Department of Defense ended its tank partnership with Germany and committed to forging ahead with its own design. The U.S. spent $305.4 million on the MBT-70 and XM-803 programs, while Germany spent $100 million. Germany subsequently started the development of the Keiler tank on its own. Later this program would lead to the Leopard 2. XM-803, edit. Work began on converting the existing MBT-70 design into a low-cost austere alternative that would use only American-made components, resulting in the visually similar XM-803 prototype. Congress hoped to drive down the per-unit cost to $500,000, $600,000, saving $200,000 per tank versus the MBT-70. The largest cost savings came from a switch to a less expensive steel armor plating. An American-made engine also reduced costs. The design was slightly heavier and slower. General Motors received a $16.5 million contract to develop the tank in July 1971. Systems were simplified or eliminated altogether to save costs. The XM-150E5 gun launcher was replaced with an XM-150E6, which included a closed breech scavenging system. A 24-round General Motors autoloader was installed. Ammunition capacity was increased to 50 rounds. The commander's 20mm cannon was replaced by a .50 caliber M85 machine gun. The driver's escape hatch was deleted and his television, as well as those of all the other crew, were eliminated. The Continental AVCR 1100-3B engine was derated to 1,250 horsepower, 930 kilowatts, at 2,600 RPM and paired to a General Motors XHM 1500-2B transmission. A simplified National Water Lift high-drop pneumatic suspension was installed. Side skirts were installed, which allowed some armor to be removed from the hull. Meanwhile, the U.S. Army studied installing a gas turbine AGT 1500 generating 1,500 horsepower, 1,100 kilowatts. This was the engine that would come to power the M1 Abrams. Only one of the two pilot vehicles authorized for construction was completed. In addition, a surrogate vehicle based on the components of MBT-70 Pilot-4, the M60 and the M88 Armored Recovery Vehicle, was constructed. These changes were ultimately insufficient to allay concerns about the tank's cost. In September 1971, an amendment by Senator Thomas Eagleton was defeated that would cut $35.3 million in funding for XM803 prototype production. But in December 1971, Congress cancelled the tank in the Defense Appropriation Bill. The bill appropriated $20 million for cancellation costs and $20 million for the development of a new tank program. This became the XM1 design project, which led to the production model M1 Abrams tank. Comparative table, edit. MBT-70 KPZ-70 XM803. Country United States, West Germany, United States. Number of prototypes 771. Weight, combat loaded 51,700 kilograms. 114,000 pound, 50,400 kilograms. 111,100 pound, 51,700 kilograms. 114,000 pound. Engine Continental AVCR 1100-3 a Daimler-Benz /MTU MB873 KA500 Continental AVCR 1100-3B. Displacement 22.2 L 39.8 L 22.2 L. Net horsepower 1,475 HP, 1,100 kilowatts, at 2,800 RPM 1,500 HP, 1,100 kilowatts, at 2,600 RPM 1,250 HP, 930 kilowatts, at 2,600 RPM. Net torque 3,728 Nm, 2,750 pound-foot, at 2,200 RPM 4,300 Nm, 3,170 pound-foot, at 1950 RPM unknown. Transmission Renk HSWL354/2 General Motors XHM 1500-2B. Top speed 64.37 km per hour, 40.00 miles per hour, 68 km per hour, 42 miles per hour, 64.37 km per hour, 40.00 miles per hour. Range 643.7 km. 400.0 mi, 580 km. 360 mi, 643.7 km. 400.0 mi. Suspension National Water Lift Model 812. Twin cylinder. Frieske and Hopfner Hydrofeder National Water Lift. Single cylinder. Tracks dial 170 double pin tracks unknown. Tracks width 635 mm, 25.0 in, 622 mm, 24.5 in. Main armament XM150E5 152 mm gun forward/launcher XM150E6 152 mm gun forward/launcher. Autoloader RH or GM Rainmet All. 24 rounds, General Motors. 26 rounds. Rate of fire 6 rounds forward/min. On the move, shells and missiles, 10 rounds forward/min. Stopped, shells only, 8 rounds forward/min. Shells only. 152 mm ammunition carried 48-46-50. Secondary weapon RH-202 autocannon retractable into a capsule M85 heavy machine gun mounted on top of the commander's stabilized day forward/night. Coaxial machine gun General Electric M73 Rainmet All MG3A1 General Electric M73. Legacy, edit. In a post-mortem report of his 4 years on the project, American Program Manager Brig. General Bernard Luchak attributed the high cost of the tank to the difficulties of managing a joint program. Luchak claimed General Motors charged a premium for its defense contract work, which it considered insignificant compared to its burgeoning automotive business. In the 1989 book King of the Killing Zone, author O'Kelly called the end of the MBT-70 program one of the most fortunate occurrences to befall the U.S. Army. Variants, edit. 1 XM742 recovery vehicle, a proposed armored recovery vehicle. 2 XM743, a proposed armored vehicle launched bridge layer carrying the 60-ton capacity XM744 double folding bridge. 3 XM745 combat engineer vehicle, a proposed military engineering vehicle with 4-man crew, 165 mm. Alternatively 152 mm, demolition gun under 25 mm autocannon. 4 VT 1-1, a tank based on a shortened KPZ-70 chassis. Surviving vehicles, edit. Altogether 14 prototypes and test beds were built, 2 made of mild steel. Some of them have survived in museums and can still be visited today. American prototypes, edit. 1 prototype is located in the Anniston Army Depot in Anniston, Alabama. 2 another prototype, as well as a prototype of the XM803, is located in the Armor Museum Restoration Yard at Fort Moore, Georgia. 3 a mild steel prototype in bad condition could be seen in the Military Museum of Southern New England in Danbury, Connecticut until October 2019. Following the closure of the museum, it was sold for scrap metal. Only the turret remains. German prototypes, edit. 1 prototype is located in the Deutsches Panzermuseum Munster. 2 another is located in the Wehrtechnischstudien Sammlung Koblenz. 1. MBT-70 at Aberdeen Proving Ground. 2. Kampfpanzer 70 at Koblenz. 3. MBT-70 Pilot #2 at Danbury, Connecticut. 4. XM803 Surrogate at the Armor and Cavalry Collection, Fort Benning, Georgia, made from the MBT-70 and M60 parts. See also, edit. 1 VT tank, West Germany. 2 MBT-80, United Kingdom. 3 Leopard 2, Germany. 4 M1 Abrams, United States. 5 Main Ground Combat System, Germany, France, to be produced in 2035. References, edit.